this is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Thank you so much for being here. This show, as you know, is created because I go around finding the best humans on the planet to come grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And today I have Donna Tashjian here, and she is an empowering life master coach. Okay, she is helping caring women rise above a painful past. I freaking love that. And Donna is down to earth, an inspirational speaker. She's been doing that for 20 years. And she's the founder of Vibrant Living International and the author and host of You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Hello. Does that not sound like a very powerful podcast? We have got to get to know Donna. So Donna, thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I am doing amazing, actually, Neema. Thank you for inviting me to be here today. And I love chatting with you.
Thank you. I'm really glad you're here too, Donna. I think you have such an amazing platform of what you're doing. And so before we get into that, if you don't mind just letting us know a little bit more about yourself, that'd be great.
Sure. I have been married next month. Well, I'm not sure when this will air, but I've almost been married 37 years. And I have 3 married kids and 8 grandchildren. So that's the things that I'm super thankful for. They all live within 15, 20 minutes of me.
That's a blessing. That is such a blessing. That is,
and everybody's healthy. Everybody's doing well. And, you know, we had some struggles, but everybody's doing well. And so those are the things that I'm most thankful for. But that wasn't where I started.
Yeah. And that's what I want to get into because, you know, I know that a lot of us who have been through trauma or things in our life, once we've overcome it and we've done some self-development, it's almost like a natural instinct to want to impact and help others. And I know that's what you're doing with your platform. So I'd love to dig into that as to who was Donna before the empowering life mastery coach and all of that. I mean, what have you gone through?
Well, one of the things about me that's part of really who I am is I'll tell you, I'll go back further than this in a minute, but I was always the girl that people were coming and telling their problems to. And I was the one that people were saying, I can't believe I'm telling you this. So I've always had that natural gifting to be able to help people through things. I'm not sure what I would have done if my life had went differently. But that was something that I always knew I wanted to do, even as a young child. I grew up in a blended family, and there was blended, meaning that both my parents had been married before. My new daddy became my daddy. I didn't have one really before that, one that was involved in my life. So it was a rough transition. My new siblings were not really nice to me, and I was a very sensitive child. So there was a lot of hardship for me there, and it was in the environment where there was too many of us that mom didn't have time for us to cry. So how we felt really wasn't okay. It wasn't allowed. It was just, you know, get on with it, basically. But so that was a little bit, that was some rough places. If you've gone through that, you know, I'm trying not to sugarcoat it, but I kind of am.
Yeah. You do what you want, but we do not sugarcoat things here.
I love that title. But anyway, at the age of 14, I became pregnant, and it wasn't consensual. And it was someone, of course, that we knew, but in those days, nothing was talked about. Everything was pushed under the rug. I just carried the shame of it all. And I had my little girl at 15, finished high school at 16, was employed before I was 18, and in my own apartment before I was 19. Now that makes it sound like it was really easy to try to describe how hard those years were. I don't know the adjectives.
Right.
I don't know how I made it. There were times I struggled to eat. car broke down, all kinds of things that went on during that, of trying to figure out how to be a good mom when you're still a
Mhm.
kid.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so through that difficulty, um, learning how to come through it, get on the other side, how that then affects your marriage, and trying to figure out, because you don't trust
Right.
when you've gone through what I went through. People told you all kinds of stuff, but they didn't follow through with their actions.
Right.
And so relationships can be hard. And so that took some work. When I say 37 years, it's an accomplishment, because it could have ended gone completely different for me. My faith has a lot to do with where I am today,
Mhm.
but learning that there are things that behaviors that we develop when we've faced some type of trauma, either early childhood or any time in our life, we develop behavior to begin to cope with that problems, to be able to not let it happen again. But it really doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work not to trust people. It doesn't stop us from being hurt. Then we're isolated and feel alone. And then we want friends, but we keep them at arm's length away.
Right. Right.
And so the behaviors we learn don't really work. And so that's what I do, is help women redefine the behaviors they've learned, and learn, I call it turning our baggage into luggage, so that we can live the life we really dreamed of living.
I love that. I
And
love that.
that's what I do every day.
I love that. I love that you coined it, that, turning your baggage into luggage. I never heard that before. And I really do love that. And it's I connect with you in a lot of ways in your story, Donna. I also had gotten pregnant at 14. I had my son at 15. I finished high school at 18. So I get it. So when you said it sounds easy, but it's not, man, do I
Oh,
get it? Do I get it? I get it. One of the most difficult things you'll ever do in your life, besides being a mother, who's already the most difficult thing you'll do, doing
yes.
it as a baby,
That's right.
raising a baby.
Yep.
Come on, you're still learning yourself, right? So there's a lot of things that you're going to do completely wrong, which then as women, right, we deal with the guilt of it,
Absolutely.
not
That's not
not
allowed.
being, yeah,
We're supposed to be perfect.
yeah, I was supposed to be perfect. Right. I mean, and you said a lot of things in your talk there, because you also talked about how back in those days things were not spoken of. And it was, from molestations to sexual abuse to all of that, you just didn't talk about it. You just didn't. And if you did, you were the bad person.
Yep.
You were the bad person for saying it. And so there's a lot of trauma that comes with that. So I like that you've decided to work with women in that capacity. Now, is that something you've always done, or did you discover that in you through your journey, like a couple years ago, or how long have you been in that journey?
Well, I wouldn't have called it coaching, but I have been working with women in different capacities, usually a volunteer capacity, for over 20
Mm-hmm.
years. So during my healing process, I was still working for women, with women. But about 10 years ago, I had a life change that occurred. It's like, what do you want to do now that you've grown up? What would you really love to
Mm-hmm.
do? And um, and what was shown to me was like this red thread going through my life, where this was always occurring, and it was when I was in my sweet spot,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And so I'm like, so how do I do that? Because
Right.
coaching wasn't a thing
Right.
before, and now it's a thing.
Right.
And so I went back to school. I had lost a job, really didn't have the money to do it, but I went back to school and got my coaching certification, and Vibrant Living was born out of that. So now I do it full time.
That's great. And it's something, isn't it, when you find that place, when you find that gift in you actually being produced, right? I'm so relating with you and your whole story. And I feel the same way. Like I've saw the red thread in my life to have been a leader a lot in my life, and
Mhm.
and guided people a lot in my life, and just didn't realize that that was what you're calling it now, to coaching or like mentoring, and just
Yes.
like really supporting people. And that's a really powerful place when you come to that realization that you are not garbage. You are not what
Yes.
people said you are. You are not what people tried to write on your banner of your life,
Yep.
you know?
And you mentioned leadership. Every
Mhm.
place I went, I could see how it could be done.
Mhm.
And I would be, all in a lower position and be given authority over for a period of time that
Me
I
too.
didn't quote, I hadn't done my time and it didn't go over well.
Right, right,
And
right.
but it always happened. I just like you, it's like just
Mhm.
happening. We kept being in leadership positions, but that caused our own frictions, didn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
it isn't always well received.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Either.
you wonder if it's all of that grit you had to learn at 14, 15, being a parent, right? All of that grit, all of that staying up late, all of that trying to finish high school while taking care of a child, trying to finish high school and trying to work and trying to, I mean, it is the most difficult part of my life ever,
Ever.
ever, ever. But I also feel like I always try to take every situation in our lives and flip a positive intention into that. And I realized that the positive of that was the woman I am today.
Absolutely.
I am like a brick wall. It takes a lot to tear me down. And I'm sure you are the same because you've been through so much, right? It helps you now be able to be the wall that sustains the women that you're trying to help, right?
I call that building our understanding muscle, that
Mm-hmm.
everything can turn out for our good. It doesn't feel like it.
So good. So
It
good.
doesn't feel like it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the steps that I work women through, is the understanding that there's good in every situation. There can be, I call it
Yeah.
gifts wrapped in sandpaper. Look for the
Yeah.
gift.
Oh, that's good. You got a lot of good ones. I'm gonna write all these down, Donna.
It's all, there is good in it. When you're in the middle of it, you're looking at your feet, if you will. You're looking downward and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, why did this happen? This isn't fair. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
just. This
Mm-hmm.
isn't right. This is so hard. And it feels like it's going to be forever, didn't it?
It
Yes.
sure the heck does, man. It sure
And
the heck
that's
does.
and that's baggage thinking. All of that
Yeah.
why stuff and resentment and unforgiveness is baggage thinking. Luggage
Yeah.
thinking is I don't know, I can't change it, but I'm going to use it to grow and become and be the best me
Right.
I can be. And
Right.
what can I learn here? What can I fortify? How can I strengthen myself
Yeah.
to be
And
able to do
luggage. Right. No, sorry. I was gonna say in luggage to me always talks about moving to another level or
moving,
moving
moving
somewhere,
to, yes,
moving. That's
yes,
fantastic. So can you like I don't need you to give me your entire program, but I would love to know what it is you're doing with these women. Because I know I was reading a little bit on your website, and you said that you are helping caring women rise above a painful past.
yes.
Can you break that down for me?
Well, it has some different pillars. It's first of all, we have to discover what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to let go of something, I have to have something that I'm moving towards. So that is part of it, is
That's
creating
good.
a vision. Quit looking at my feet kind of a situation, because I'm surviving the day, not looking what I want to be next year.
Mm-hmm.
Coping. One of the things that I say, a lot of people who come to me have been in counseling for years. And I asked one of my clients who had been in that, why was it different? She said, my counselor taught me how to cope with it. I'm going to
Mm,
be this way for probably forever. And this is how you cope. She says, you didn't want me to cope. You taught me how to obliterate it. And
amen.
so that I could learn and grow and be who God created me to be, and not just coping with it forever. So we're going to create a vision of where we want to go. And that takes some time
Mm-hmm.
because it feels super scary. And then how do we repackage and reframe is coaching lingo. How can I look at a new perspective is another way to say it.
Yeah.
How can I look at my past with new glasses so that I can find the gifts, so I can find out what I
Mhm.
can learn, so that I can. Forgiveness is a part of that. Walking people through forgiveness. What does forgiveness actually mean? I can do
Mhm.
multiple episodes on what forgiveness
Yeah,
means.
me too. I
That's such
love
a
you,
huge.
Donna.
And so walking people through what forgiveness is, and then what
Great.
are my next steps? What do I begin steps that I can take to begin to move forward so that I can create the life that I actually want? That's a rough idea of
Right.
components, different components, parts of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I love that you're pouring into women that way. And it's something, isn't it, Donna, when you see that aha moment in
Oh,
their
yeah.
life? Isn't that like, and that's what drives you to the next one
Yeah.
and the next one and the next one. But what I love about what you said is this takes time.
Yeah.
This takes time. I want all of you who are listening to understand that when you are going through a process with a coach, or process with someone who is going to be pouring out of you what's in you, and also pouring into you ideas and thoughts that'll help you like solidify that journey, that you realize that it takes time, people. It takes time. Now there are
Well,
no, go ahead, Donna. Go ahead.
just to comment on that, that what I heard someone here, I heard you, when it isn't necessarily what we say, it's what they said to themselves about what we said.
Right, right.
And what I heard someone say is, yeah, it's hard too, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It does take, it is a journey, but it's
Mm-hmm.
one step at a time. And the healing journey doesn't have to be hard,
Right,
especially when you have
right.
someone who's walked the path ahead of you.
Right. And I think, and thank you for that, because I think that one of the things we do get accustomed to is thinking something is hard. I've been victim of that for
Me
sure.
too.
For sure, I've been victim
Absolutely.
of that. And I think I might have even said it recently when I was on a show. Like I'm like, oh, it's really hard to blank. And you're right. I'm trying to change that lingo even within myself,
Yeah.
because when you do that, you've already pulled up a block. You've already pulled up a block that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for in your own mind anyway to get through it.
Yes.
And so yeah, that was really good. Thank you for that. And so when you are doing all of your, because I know you're an inspirational speaker as well, right?
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
mainly speak to a women audience about this here, or?
Most of the time, but not exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have different workshops that I teach that um, understanding muscle, identifying the gift is just one point in
Okay.
the workshops that I do, but that gives you an idea
Yeah.
of the kind of workshops I have. I do one, turning your baggage into luggage, which is
Mm-hmm. I
also
love that.
my coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one, choose joy, and it's how to overcome anxiety and depression and
Wonderful.
anxious thoughts. And then I have another one called Life by Design, Not by Default. And it is kind of like the second step after we've got our luggage. Where do I want to go?
Right, right, right.
And learning how to create the life I want. And that one is from a spiritual perspective, using how to develop ourselves with our spiritual intelligence. That's not something other people that I know of are talking about either. And so
Right.
that's another passion of mine.
Right. That's fantastic. And I love that too. My faith has really helped my life too tremendously. So with my clients, I do the same. We do walk through that. And it's a beautiful process. It's a beautiful process. And most people are open to receive that,
Yep.
because they're looking for something that hasn't in their life been working thus far, and
Yes.
want to know how to connect that. So I love that you're doing that kind of work. Good for you. Now your programs, are they just online like workshops, or do they get coaching with you as well, or how do they work?
I have group programs
Oh,
and
great.
one-on-one. And I do have a few people locally that meet in person, but
Oh,
most
wow.
everything is through Zoom.
Great.
But it is not, I have one pre-recorded program, but no, you get me
Right.
either on the group or one-on-one. You get
That's
me
great.
every session. Nothing's pre-recorded. I can do that, but and that's what my workshops basically are.
Right.
But when I'm meeting with women, I want to be able to look them in the eye and touch what they
I
need
agree. I agree.
specifically.
Hmm.
So that's why they're not pre-recorded. There's more personal touch with me.
That's great. So Donna, what do you do for you? Like, what do you do for your self-development? How do you get through your tough times and your bad days and stuff like that? What do you do? What's your routine or your ritual or your go-to? What do you do?
Um, my daily ritual is I wake up, I get a cup of tea, I get my journal and my Bible and any other books that I'm reading. Some days it's podcasts, some days it's books, some days it's just music.
Mm-hmm.
And I just spend some time journaling my thoughts, planning my day, taking care of me. After that, I work
Good,
out and
good.
get started with my day. That's my daily routine to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, but my mornings, as far as what I'm doing, can be switched up. But I am very careful with how much people I'm taking care of and putting into that. I spend
Good.
time taking care of me. Um, Planning some time this week to go to a local flower garden and just sit in nature. So,
Nice.
just doing things that I enjoy to be able to recharge.
Yeah,
Um,
important.
it's important, and it's important for all of us. Uh, One of the other little tips that I use is, yeah, we talked about the word hard. I quit using the word busy.
Mm-hmm.
Busy
Mm-hmm.
feels overwhelming. Busy feels like I don't ever have enough time. When I say
Yeah, it's
busy,
true.
that's what it feels to me. So I started saying my life is full, and then
Mm-hmm.
I get to choose what I put in it,
That's
as
great.
opposed to using the word busy. Just little subtle things like
Yeah,
that can
it really,
change
yeah.
the way that we feel about our day. And then it's like, my day is full, but is it have what I want in it, or did somebody else fill it?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to look at my life and see if it's what I want in it. Because when we have been through pain, other people fill our buckets and tell us what we should be doing,
Yeah,
and we let them.
yeah, yeah.
And we let
We
them.
let
And
them.
we don't
Yeah.
know how to say no, and we get guilt and we get pressured, and why you're going to do that, and labels and all of the stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so learning to be able to fill my own bucket with what I want so that my life is full of the things I love.
Yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah.
love.
That's so great. I literally just got off of doing my first episode on Winject TV, and I talked about a lot of what you're touching on because I totally agree. I think, especially for me, I had gotten overwhelmed because I wanted to learn so much about all the topics that I love that I realized that I was stagnant because I had too much information. Too
Mhm.
much. So prioritizing is really important, Donna. I'm glad you brought that up. And also, taking care of yourself. Just take care of you, because
Yeah,
then you can pour in. Then you can just keep pouring. If your cup is overflowing, you just can keep pouring into others. So
yeah.
I'm glad that you do that. So before I let you go, I also want you to tell us a little bit about your podcast and where we can find you, like all your social media links, your website, all that great stuff.
Great. My podcast is called You Were Designed for Greatness,
I love
and
it.
it is stories, tips, and strategies to live and overcome, to live to our fullest potential. In the beginning, it was a lot more of me sharing tips and strategies, but as it has developed, I have been meeting such amazing women that it's, and I keep it around 15, 20 minutes. Just because we don't sit still for very long.
Right. Right.
And so they're women sharing their stories of overcoming. What did they overcome? How did they do it? And what helped them? And so that's what You Were Designed for Greatness is.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So you guys who are listening to us talk, you got to get on there and check it out. You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. It is on I believe it's living on all of the podcast platforms,
Platforms.
because I
Yeah.
did see a list of it come up. So tell us how we can follow you, support you. Maybe some of the women who are listening are resonating with you and would like to know more about your program.
I am on Facebook. It's my name. It's my personal page, and and Vibrant Living has a business page. So you can contact me. I'm on Facebook a lot, and engaging with people. not there
Mm,
just looking around. I'm
yeah, yeah.
engaging with people.
I know.
My
That's
website is
wonderful.
another resource for you. There is a lot of freebies, and there's a free ebook on the main page that you can go and take advantage of. And my website is ivibrantliving.com.
That's wonderful. Donna, I want to thank you so much for spending this time on Straight Talk. Really, this was a great conversation. I truly enjoy your energy and what you're doing. Thank you so much for being here.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you smash that like button and share this episode, because we are trying to grow this audience and bring you the best humans on the planet so that you can transform your thinking. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
This broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.